Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're watching a creepy animated story time about a really weird Uber driver.
21-year-old Samantha Josephson grew up in Robbinsville, New Jersey as the daughter of Seymour and Marcy Josephson.
Okay, wait a minute, apparently this is real. I thought this was just like a fake, animated story time. Okay, this is actually a real video.
While majoring in political science at the University of South Carolina, Samantha studied abroad in Barcelona and planned on attending the Drexel University School of Law after her 2019 graduation.
It's quite crazy to think that people at my age are literally at university. Like, the people who I used to be in school with are now at university. And I'm sat at home making YouTube videos. But I find it so weird how the majority of them probably won't see each other ever again. Like, their life has officially started at uni.
Samantha was a girl who showed boundless potential, who was potentially looking at a partial scholarship to Rutgers, but all her dreams would be snuffed out after making just one fatal mistake.
Okay, so it's getting to the point of the video, there's something scary with her Uber driver. I think I know in the back of my head what's gonna happen, but I really hope that what I think's gonna happen doesn't happen.
On the evening of March 28, 2019, Samantha went out drinking with friends at the Bird Dog Bar in downtown Columbia.
Stories like this always happen because they go to a bar and they're left alone. So if you ever are gonna go out, please go with somebody.
At around 2 a.m., they decided to call it a night, and like so many of us have done before, Samantha pulled out her phone and ordered an Uber. Just 9 minutes later, surveillance footage from the Bird Dog shows a black Chevrolet Impala pulling up outside.
So yeah, this is a real story like I suspected, and that's what makes it even scarier. Like, yeah, whenever you watch these videos, they're kind of freaky because it's like, oh, something happened, like that's a bit scary. But it's the fact that this is literally like an actual story, like this genuinely happened.
Samantha steps outside, enters the vehicle, and greets her driver. The man at the wheel was named Nathaniel Rowland, and although he didn't say anything as Samantha climbed into his car, he hadn't actually been expecting a passenger.
Why wasn't he expecting? What does he mean by that? Does he mean that he wasn't expecting somebody to get into the Uber, or he wasn't expecting her to be alone?
You see, the car that Samantha had climbed into wasn't her Uber. It was just a similar looking vehicle she'd drunkenly mistaken for her ride.
Oh my gosh. Oh my god. Wait, what? Oh my god, that's like a new fear. Because like, imagine you get into an Uber and it isn't actually your Uber. Is that man purposely pretending to be an Uber driver? Something about that isn't right. I don't like that.
You'd expect Roland to ultimately tell her to get out of the car, but he didn't.
Of course he didn't, and he's probably gonna lock her in. Oh my god, that's like a new fear of mine. Like, I know I say every single video, oh, I've got a fear. That's genuinely a fear. Like, imagine you think you're getting into a car, but it turns out that like the Uber that you're meant to be getting into isn't the one that you're actually getting into. This is why whenever you're getting into an Uber, you always like say, is this for Connor? Or maybe you shouldn't say that. Like, what happens if they pretend that it is for you when it isn't?
They simply engaged the locks, trapping Samantha inside, then drove off.
This literally seems like every single horror movie ever. Do you want to know something? This is gonna freak me out. Like, I'm recording this at 10 p.m. I don't know why I'm recording it at night. I always watch these freaky videos, and the thing is, this one's a real one, so this actually happened. And it's probably happened a lot. Also, it's even worse, she's in a completely different country. She's not where she was born.
It's not clear whether or not Samantha realized her mistake before Roland stopped the vehicle, but at some point, Roland parked up his Impala, pulled out a knife, and inflicted a sustained and savage attack upon the terrified Samantha.
But why? This is literally true. Oh my god, I keep forgetting that this is like a real story. This isn't like a fake animated story times like my other ones. Like, this actually does happen. Somebody literally lost their life.
Using a bizarre looking two-bladed knife, Roland proceeded to stab Samantha 120 times.
Okay, so it wasn't even just once, it was 120 times. Also, he had that weapon in his car, so was that like the intention the whole time of him being around that like bar? Oh my god, it makes me feel weird reacting to it.
She attempted to shield herself, but she was trapped, and Roland was armed. As well as several horrific defensive wounds, Roland also stabbed Josephson in the head with so much force that the knife went through her skull to her brain.
Oh my god, that's just awful. Like, that genuinely is awful. Obviously, this man planned to go out and do something like that because that's just horrific. I can't believe there's actually people out there that would like do that. Like, I know I always joke about, oh, I do something like that, but like, this guy actually done it. Like, that is, oh, I don't like that.
But the killer blow seems to have come when he stabbed her in the carotid, one of two main arteries that carries blood to the brain. Samantha also sustained wounds to her face, neck, shoulder, torso, back, lung, leg, and feet.
But like, why? Like, what was the reason? And they said apparently one to her neck was the one that finished her off. So like, even if he didn't stab her, she probably would have been in so much distress. Oh my god, I hate this. Like, it genuinely does scare me. There's been a few times where I've nearly gotten into the wrong car. Thank goodness I didn't, because I don't want something like that to happen to me. Could you imagine that?
Bleeding out within just 10 to 15 minutes, Roland then dumped Samantha Samantha's body in the New Zion field, where she was discovered by a handful of local turkey hunters.
Yeah, that is just awful. Like, imagine coming across something like that. This isn't many story time, but whenever I was really young, I used to always go to the beach with my parents. One time we were on like a wee walk. I was with my mum. I'm pretty sure it wasn't my dad. It was with my mum. Basically, this woman ran over to us and she was like screaming. I think I was like 5 or 6, and she had like this ball, and she kept saying like, I think I found a baby's head that was like wrapped up in like a paper ball. And I remember that so vividly because it really freaked me out. It turns out it wasn't a baby's head. Basically, people had just made like a fake football, obviously to mess around in the beach with, but they left it in like a bushy area, so it did seem a bit suspicious. But the shape of it did kind of look like a baby's head. I mean, that was scary enough for me to witness, but imagine coming across a body like that.
The following morning, Samantha's roommates became deeply concerned when they found she hadn't returned home.
I mean, yeah, like imagine you're out with your friend or like your roommate, and then the minute you think they're gonna be in the house, or I can't even say, like, this is messing my brain. Basically, imagine you go out and like your roommate doesn't come home, you don't know where they are. If my mom goes out shopping and she's like 5 minutes late, I start thinking in the back of my head, am I gonna need to call the police? Like, it is just so scary. There are so many evil and sinister people out there.
Police rushed into action, easily tracing her last known whereabouts to the Bird Dog Bar and to Nathaniel Rowland's black Chevy Impala.
Thank God there was CCTV. Like, imagine if there wasn't CCTV, they might have never figured it out. Also, imagine what the actual Uber driver thinks. Like, he probably feels heartbroken. He'll probably feel really guilty. He'll be like, oh, because of me, that woman's now dead. Which obviously isn't the case. It isn't because of him. It's because this absolute psycho freak somehow was out in the world. And yet again, he had a weapon in his car, so he probably planned to do it to somebody. It just turns out she was the victim.
Officers later happened across Rowland while he was out driving, and after a traffic stop was attempted, Rowland jumped out of his stationary vehicle and began to flee.
Oh my god, imagine you're looking for somebody and then you literally come across them in like the middle of the street. Also, that sound effect freaks me out. I hate it whenever animations do that. Are you ever watching something and like the music starts to build up and like the sound effects start, or like you know something's coming but you don't know when? It's jump scares like that. Like, I hate whenever they do that.
Inside his car, police officers found a container of liquid bleach, germicidal wipes, and a bottle of window cleaner. But perhaps the most incriminating piece of evidence was Samantha's phone.
At least I've got her phone so they can like prove that it was actually him. I wonder if he took photos of her. I really hope he did. Like, that would be such a sick thing to do.
Which Rowland had foolishly chosen to keep. He was arrested, questioned, and tissue samples were taken. Disturbingly, the tissues under Rowland's nails tested positive for Samantha's DNA, meaning whatever he was doing after he'd killed her, it had been rigorous enough for particles of her skin to become embedded under his nails.
Oh my god, yet again, the music is freaking me out. Everything about this is scary. This sounds really bad, but if anybody does ever attack you, like, try to scratch them. If you can get like their skin cells under your fingernails, that will be proof of DNA of them being around you. Obviously, that sounds like really bad, but I was thinking if they were gonna say that there was other DNA of other girls. Imagine they caught a serial killer.
Rowland was soon charged with Samantha's kidnap and murder, and it became apparent that Samantha wasn't his first kidnapping victim.
Okay, so I literally just said, imagine if it turns out there's other people, and apparently there is. It says that he kidnapped somebody else. Is she alive? Did she make it out?
He had apparently carjacked a woman at the stoplight in October of 2018 and was extremely violent in the commission of the crime, beating her and threatening her.
How are men like this allowed out in the world? Like, it genuinely terrifies me. Also, this must have happened quite recently because they said he earlier kidnapped a girl in 2018. So keep in mind, this only happened within like the last 3 years.
Before they drove to an ATM to almost empty her bank account, in July of 2021, Rowland was found guilty of kidnapping and murdering, with the judge sentencing him to life in prison.
Good. He deserves to stay in prison for like the rest of his life. Like, he literally deserves to stay in there and burn. Oh my god, it breaks my heart that like it actually happened. You always hear about these stories online and like in videos like this, but like you don't realize that's actually a person. Like, this happened to somebody, and it's probably happened to a lot more people. Usually people like that will have like a past of doing stuff like that. There could also be people out there that we don't know about that he's done it too.
The same judge, a veteran of the legal circuit, said the murder was perhaps the most heartless and severe he'd ever seen, denying Rowland's request for leniency. It's also easy to see why.
I mean, yeah, he brutally murdered a girl, stabbing her like 100 and something times. Even saying it out loud genuinely brings like a tear to my eye. A father and mother have lost their child, and like imagine what she was thinking whenever it was all happening. That's gonna be the last memory she ever had.
Rowland displayed some horrifying predatory behavior. When a stranger accidentally climbs into their car, most correct thinking people simply laugh it off.
Exactly, or say, right sweetheart, get out of the car. I mean, that would be quite scary. I'd be thinking in the back of my head, right, is somebody trying to kidnap me? But it happens. Like, I've nearly gotten into the wrong car. Have you ever walked over to your car and like grabbed its little handle to open it and you're like, oh, that's not my car?
Perhaps getting a little prickly if there rather in a bad mood. But Roland found a stranger climbing into his back seat, and his first thoughts were nothing short of bloodthirsty. Samantha Josephson made an honest and simple mistake, and Nathaniel Roland made her pay with her life.
Exactly, like, oh god, that just is freaky. But anyways, that's the end of the animation. Well, anyways, guys, that was the end of that video. That took a turn. I thought it was going to be like a fake scary story, but apparently that was like real. If you want to see me react to more videos like this in the future, let me know. I definitely will. If you are new, press that big red subscribe button, and yes, I'll see you all in my next video.